G'day everyone, Uncle Jojo, Warm Jigger to another rip-roaring episode. Today I'm taking you gals and guys out there for a walkthrough in an old home that we've renovated and extended. We've created a home environment that's energy efficient and green and sustainable. What do I mean by green, energy efficient and sustainable? Let's talk through a few of those things. Energy efficient meaning that we've created a home that's efficient with the energy that it uses. So we've used as much of the natural airflow of the home and the environment surrounds it to cool the home down or heat it up. So we're trying to reduce the amount of resources the home uses. That also goes into the system of actually building the home. So what's called the over-embodied energy of the build itself. We've tried to reuse as many materials and windows, doors, etc. where we could. Otherwise, we've brought new ones in that work with the environment. So this home was originally built in about 1912 and it's had a couple of little extensions and renos on it. What we did was we cut off a whole section and we've reorganised the entire home to work with the orientation of the way the house is situated on the block. So how about we go for a walk through the home and we talk about the different things that we were able to reuse, the different things that we had to reconnect with, and how we got to work with the outside environment to work with the inside environment. So come with me and let's checkity check it out. This is actually part of the original home here, beautiful pitched roof. But there was no insulation in the roof. So what we had to do was pull all of the roof off outside, and then what we did was we insulated it all and then recladded it. This window is an original window. We wanted to keep this feel, and there was a really strict budget that the owners were sticking to. So these are single glazed, but this is facing a southeast direction. So we're okay with those being in the position that they are. They're not going to heat up too much. Whereas if you swing around just behind you, these windows here are directly facing the northeast and they take in a lot of heat. So what we did was we got those double glazed and opened it right up with a beautiful triple sliding door system. And then we put some drapes over it just to take the sting away. What I really love to do is bring the inside to the outside. This is a major hub area, the kitchen, always is. And people love to socialise in the kitchen. You can turn this area here into a brekkie bar, which is perfect. Or even better still, when you want to have a party, we can open this up and we can bring in the outside into the inside and really utilise this alfresco area and make this whole area one. So we've got a triple slider here, we've got a triple slider over there, and we can open those two up and then really open this whole area. So everybody's part of it that way. Another big thing with these triple opening sliding doors is cross-air ventilation. I don't know if you've seen it on my videos before, but cross-air ventilation is the cheapest, cleanest type of air conditioning that we can use. We're really utilising the east wind in this direction. We can open up the front door and we can get some really nice cross-air throughout. We've also got this door here that we've put into the kitchen area so we can open up the east and the west. So what we wanted to do was be able to create really nice lively air, and we can do that by opening up the front and the back and have that cross-air ventilation. It really rejuvenates that air in the area and keeps the area nice and healthy. That's what we're after. One of my favourite features of this home is the bookcase. The owners really wanted to keep this bookcase here and we've just rejigged it. I love a bookcase in a home. It really shows the authenticity of the personality of the people and the different books that they read. Not only that, but you can also make it a really nice feature of the home, different books, different pictures and all that jazz. By reshaping this area, we were able to hide a few things and rejig it so it really worked with the usability for the whole family. We've hidden laundries, we've refixed up areas, and you have to realise that these walls here, these are all over 100 years old, 108 years old. And they were all out of plumb, they were all out of whack. We were able to really use the skeleton of it because it was super well made and actually retrofit a lot of things to it, seal up a lot of the gaps and make it super energy efficient. Part of renovating and extending an existing home is really working with the existing environment or the existing structure. This chimney here was about to fall down. So what we really had to do was work with it. All of the floor underneath was caving around. So we rebuilt the entire structure around that floor and brought this chimney back to life again. So all of the windows up this end of the house are double glazed systems. Some of them are timber, some of them are aluminium. We use those windows due to the position of them. This window here is a solid timber window, and it's what's called a sash sliding window. So timber sash, and it slides up and down. Between the window and the wall is foam filled. The reason that we foam fill between those is to maximize the efficiency, the energy of the home. These big gaps here, windows in general, we lose about 20 to 25% of our energy through windows and doors. By doing double glazed systems and by sealing these gaps, we're reducing the amount of energy that gets lost. If we have a gap there, all that happens is that we get breezes between these architraves and we lose a lot of the energy through that. We can also lose energy between the sashes or underneath them as well. These windows are super well made and they're sealed all the way round. Timber is a much more energy efficient, and I'm not just talking about energy as in the energy that the home uses. I'm also talking about the embodied energy that goes into making timber products. Some of the windows are aluminium, but the reason that we've separated the aluminium to the timber is to maximise the position of each and every one of those products. All of these floors, as you walk through, you'll notice that all of these floors are an Australian native floor. We didn't want to have to get any timbers from overseas. We wanted to use what was local and easily able to get our hands on. It's got particle board flooring underneath, insulation under the floor itself, and then an overlay board on top of it. We've also sealed it with a water-based product, and it's a lime wash water-based product, so that there's no extra VOCs in the atmosphere. Trying to keep the home as green and as healthy as possible, so there's not too much off-gassing. Step in here and we'll just check these out. These are old cupboards, and we've actually configured them to fit in beside the chimney itself. So what we're trying to make sure is that we've reused as many materials as we could as we've gone through the home. There were some really key features that the owners wanted to keep, so we had to really work with those. By putting a heating duct in front of a window, what we're doing is we're creating what's called an air curtain. So the heat blocks any of that outside energy coming through. So when it's a really cold, crisp morning facing the west, then this air curtain that comes through separates the inside from the outside. It's an old trick that we've used for quite a long period of time. And if I close those curtains, you'll see that the duct is just in front of that curtain. We're keeping this room as energy efficient as possible. We're not losing that air. Now, get ready for this. This is my favourite feature ever. I learned this trick when I was building over in Europe. So this is a very typical thing that you'll see in Europe or France. Particularly, we worked in this, and we've got cupboards that open up to your very own ensuite, so that the parents can actually have a retreat and get away from the kids, but they've got their own area that they can just close up. And we know that every parent wants to be able to close up an area and forget about the mess behind it. Or have their own space, close it up and lock themselves in there. Better still. If we swing around here, what we've done is we've actually taken this here, which is an old bay window, and we've recreated it. This was original, but the window itself was falling apart and all of the external cladding was falling apart as well. We've recreated the external cladding out and we've rebuilt this whole section to really work with the area. This pressed metal ceiling was an absolute gem to recreate. We really enjoyed it. Very hard to find the same kind of system again, but we did. All of these walls that you've seen as we've walked through on the external of the house have been insulated. By doing all of those steps, we've created a system that is super efficient in holding the still air inside the wall cavity. So we've got external cladding, we've got a pocket of still air, and then we've got the actual wall system itself. So wall studs and then some insulation inside that. And then what we've got on this side is the plaster. So there's 2 or 3 stages that we go through, and what that does is it creates a super efficient area for still air to sit, and that's what we want to create a really nice efficient wall. Here what we've got is the old entranceway. Now, this is a brand new door on it, but the actual surround of the door, we wanted to try and keep intact as much as possible. The customer loved the stained glass around the spot, but they were stained glass or lead light is a real energy waster. The air goes all the way through any of the breaks and areas around that. So what we do with this is what's called a secondary glazing system. We've created a bead, we've handmade a bead and put a bead in there, then we've put some moisture beads to suck up any moisture that goes in there because nobody wants mold, and then we've put a piece of glass on it and then another moulding around it. And we've done that on both sides. So what that does is it gives it a double seal, or what we like to call the secondary glazing, and no energy can go through that area. It's a super awesome trick. The feel and the look of the home was really important to the owner. So we made sure that we could fix up whatever we could, where we could. This is an old red cedar cladding system, and it's beautiful to work with. We couldn't get it anywhere. We had to remake certain sections of it. A lot of it had actually rotted away because it's directly facing the west, so that really hot summer sun. It took its toll and it slowly deteriorated, but I think we did an amazing job of bringing it back to life again. All of the bricks that you'll find outside, they've all been reused from pulling down the chimney or wherever else we could find them. And we're able to do some paving. We even put some drainage underneath this as well. Here's the window that we were talking about inside. This is the bay window. It was completely eaten away from that really harsh western sun. So we've recreated that and built it to last. We've even repitched inside the roof cavity itself. Part of talking about the stability of a home and turning a home sustainable is the actual length of time the home itself lives for, or the life expectancy, the life cycle of the home. If we create a home that's structurally sound, it'll last a super long period of time, and that's what we're after. We want a home that lasts 4 or 5 generations. We don't want a house that only lasts for 10 to 15 years, which quite a few of the homes nowadays are being built to. One of the key features about building an energy efficient, sustainable home is by utilising the material properties. What I mean by that is this wall here is a weatherboard home. The old weatherboards we weren't able to use. It was directly facing north and they were all falling apart. But what we did do was pull these weatherboards off, and then we've insulated inside the wall, battened the wall, papered the wall, and then put this weatherboard system on. What that does is really helps with the insulation of it. By using a cement sheet weatherboard, we were able to make sure that the thermal properties of that material have really repelled that hot air coming in. So we're using the materials or the thermal properties of the material to protect the inside of the wall, or the still air inside the wall, to maximise the insulation properties of that house. We talked before about the different windows on the south face. Well, these are the windows on the north face. The reason I've used aluminium north facing windows is because these are powder coated. If I used a normal paint on these windows and they're not done properly, the harsh heat of the Australian summer sun can really blister the paint. By using a powder coated system, I can ensure longevity of these windows. And we talked about before, longevity of the build is a super big plus. We weren't able to fit every single thing that's energy efficient on this home, but what we were able to do, we made sure that we were able to do well. This here is a slimline water tank system, and what that has got inside it is actually a pump. Every single downpipe comes into a transfer pit, and if we can, we've put it back into here. If this is too full, it goes into the transfer pit and goes out to storm water. The big thing with utilising the water that we can is ensuring that we've got clean water for the future generations, but at the same time we're able to flush the dunnies, we're able to have good drinking water, so really use the natural environment to feed the home. So you can see this has been a very well used home over the last 5 years, and we've included as many things as we could that were energy efficient. Retrofitting things, sealing around windows and doors. At the end of the day, it's not just about what we have to rebuild, it's also how we go about rebuilding it and the longevity of that, the overall embodied energy. So the next time you're thinking about renovating or extending, don't just think about the cost of it in the financial sense. For now, also think about the big savings you can make to your own skyrocket in the future. If you've got any questions or queries about any of this, please flick it over for me and I'll answer it for you best I can, whenever I can. Thanks for watching, and like always, stay unreal, banana peel. I'll see you in the soup.